Welcome back to the second annual Connors, and now your host, Connor Old.
Thank you. Welcome back, everybody, to the second annual Connors. I'm your host, as always, Connor Old, and I can't believe we're here. Last year I said I'd make an Oscars type of award show based on my opinions, based on my categories I make up with my nominees, to sort of give a little bit of a personal taste of myself on the show instead of sort of the Oscar content. That did really well last year with the first annual Connors. I was a big fan of that. So now here I'm back with the second annual Connors. And please share with your friends. This is a great award show that I like to have. And like I said, it's similar to the Oscars where I have all these different categories. And I have my picks, and I also have my best picture. And stay tuned for that, because that means the top 10 of the year are going to be debuted for me in the best picture category with the winner. So I've created similar categories, but changed some. For example, I got rid of the shorts. I don't have any of the shorts, but I have something like Ensemble. So similar to the Oscars, but not entirely the same. That being said, I don't like monologues, so I'm just going to jump right into it with the first pick, where I'm going to list all the names, list the winner, and just give a brief little thing about why I picked those guys for those categories, and specifically the winner. Alright, Best Supporting Actor, and the nominees are Adam Driver, Star Wars The Last Jedi; Barry Keoghan, The Killing of a Sacred Deer; Daniel Craig, Logan Lucky; Michael Keaton, Spider-Man Homecoming; and Sam Rockwell, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. And the winner is Daniel Craig, Logan Lucky. Alright, so before we get there, let's just start off. Adam Driver, Star Wars Last Jedi. He was incredible because I like the movie. I know it's a bit of a divisive movie, but I think that he was a villain I did not like in The Force Awakens, and he totally morphed to his own in this character. Adam Driver is a phenomenal actor. He's also great in Logan Lucky, but really well done in Star Wars Last Jedi, making a villain that I didn't care for at all, being really interesting and really sort of depth and giving some more humanity. Really interesting story arc there. The next pick, Barry Keoghan, Killing the Sacred Deer. People are sleeping on him. People are sleeping on this movie. An incredible movie in Barry Keoghan. You see him in Dunkirk. He's the son that actually dies on the ship, or the friend that dies on the ship. He's totally different in Killing the Sacred Deer. Very unique, really incredible range. I know people talk about new actors like Timothée Chalamet or even Lucas Hedges, but Barry Keoghan is a definite standout for me, especially in this movie. And then Michael Keaton, Spider-Man Homecoming. Spider-Man Homecoming I was a big fan of, my favorite superhero movie of the year, and I think that there's incredible scenes. He delivers this great sort of Marvel villain that we haven't seen before. He just brings so much energy to it. I mean, even that scene, that great scene in the car when he's the dad driving, Spider-Man, Tom Holland, Peter Parker, with his date Zendaya in the car there. And he knows he's Spider-Man, that incredible tension. I mean, Tom Holland's going against Michael Keaton, an incredible actor, and that Michael Keaton nails it out of this movie. Big fan of his performance here. And my final pick that didn't win, Sam Rockwell, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. He's definitely the frontrunner right now for the Oscars, and rightfully so. He's really incredible in this movie. He was more like a co-lead, because his story doesn't start with him, but really morphs into more of his story. He has this incredible character arc. He does have a lot of criticism in terms of him being racist and sort of maybe the movie giving him a pass because of that, but I think he's just a really interesting character where he's an idiot. He has certain values, but he's trying to learn to be a better person. He's always trying to learn to be a better person. This role was written for Sam Rockwell, and he knocks it out of the park. So funny. I mean, my dad even said he couldn't even recognize it was him when he saw Sam Rockwell in an interview. He didn't even recognize him. Really incredible transformation. And then my next pick, my winner, was Daniel Craig from Logan Lucky. I was a big fan of Logan Lucky. You'll be seeing it a little later in the show for sure. And Daniel Craig was a standout for it. Just his fact that he makes him go get from the vending machine an egg and those things. That image has stuck with me. The egg from the vending machine. He's eating it, and he has the salt, which is not actual salt. The doctors gave him because he has high sodium or something, cholesterol. There's incredibly unique things. He's totally different. We want to talk about transformation. Everyone thinks he's the Bond, the Cowboys vs. Aliens sort of stiff, straight guy. No, he's incredibly wacky and crazy, and he does a great job in this movie. I'm just a huge fan of Daniel Craig in this movie. It blew me out of the water. So unique, so crazy, really fun. Alright, let's go into my next category, which is another big one, Best Supporting Actress. Excuse me, this could be a long show. Alright. First pick, Anna de Armas, Blade Runner 2049. Kristen Scott Thomas, Darkest Hour. Laurie Metcalf, Lady Bird. Riley Keough, Logan Lucky. And Sienna Miller, The Lost City of Z. Once again, some unique picks that you don't see really on anyone's radar except for Laurie Metcalf from Lady Bird. But, you know what, let's just name the winner right now. You might have guessed it. Laurie Metcalf, Lady Bird, that's right. I think this was sort of maybe a weaker year for Best Supporting Actress. I wasn't a fan of sort of the ones that are being considered for Oscar nomination, but I was a fan of these. These actresses did great jobs, just nothing booming out of the water necessarily. But Anna de Armas from Blade Runner 2049, that sort of great docile role she plays as sort of the hologram wife or whatever, but then you see later on in the movie that she's been programmed to feel like that, so she's perceived as one way and she's perceived as another way, and even her last line being total commitment, like, I love you, and you want to seem sincere, but there is this sort of interesting like disconnection, and she totally nails that part for a really well written role. And Chris Scott Thomas for Darkest Hour, she's just an incredible actress that I'm a huge fan of, and she plays this really great supportive wife of Winston Churchill in Darkest Hour, and she gives it to him straight a lot of times, but she is really there for her husband and grounds him and really makes him more of a human character than sort of this myth that these sort of they tell you in the history books that he was. And then Riley Keough, Logan Lucky, she's this real smart, badass, gearhead. She's really almost the mastermind of this operation. She's totally, such a loyal character to her brothers. She's strong, she has people hitting on her. She's like, yeah, I know what I'm doing. I know what's right and what's wrong, They always recommend it. Oh, you should get a new car, all this stuff. She's like, I know what the best is, trust me, you know what I mean? All that stuff, she was good in it. And then Sienna Miller, The Lost City of Z. No one's always talking about this movie at all. It's actually its only nomination. A good movie I really enjoyed. But Sienna Miller's definitely in there because she's not only the supportive wife we see, like Kristen Scott Thomas in Darkest Hour, but she's almost like, shows different class periods. In the time, women could not go what Charlie Hunnam, her wife, or her husband was doing at the time, which is going over and sort of exploring the jungle. So, women weren't allowed to do that at the time. But you can see there's this explorative energy to her. She wants to go do that, but she just can't. Really interesting character dynamic, and Sienna Miller pulls it off beautifully. But my winner, Laurie Metcalf from Lady Bird, she really is almost the co-lead. She crosses the line. Like, for example, I didn't really enjoy I, Tonya very much, and Alice Jane was good in it, but she was so into the I hate you, I'm a terrible mother, that she didn't have any human characteristics. Laurie Metcalf is a very harsh mother, but maybe a more realistic mother. She definitely loves her. Even Lady Bird says, oh, my mom's not mean, she just loves me a lot. She sort of gets the dynamic, and the movie does too, and gives her a lot of redeeming characters, and really just beautifully well-written character, and Laurie Metcalf knocks it out of the park. I hope she wins the Oscar this year. And right now, I think she will. All right, let's move her into the next pick. Nomination, which is Best Screenplay. So, my first pick, Downsizing, Lady Bird, Spider-Man Homecoming, The Meyerowitz Stories, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. And the winner is The Meyerowitz Stories. Like I said, an unusual year. You're not seeing a lot of the Oscar bait things. Last year, for example, I was a big fan of the Oscar movies that they nominated. This year, not so much. So you'll see a little more unique things like Downsizing. I know a lot of people didn't like this movie, but it hit for me. I had a unique ability of seeing it at TIFF, so I didn't know really anything about it. I didn't have any critical thoughts of it, and I went in there and I really enjoyed the movie. I saw the twist coming that they totally spoiled in the trailers, so I have a unique experience there. I really didn't even know what the movie was about. I didn't even really know it was about shrinking people all that much. So really interesting take on that. So I saw that going in fresh, really an incredible fresh experience. I can't speak to it how it was outside, but I think overall I saw it again actually, and I really appreciated the incredible smartness of the screenplay. It's an ambitious screenplay, and I don't think they hit everything, but I do think they hit a lot. And just the idea of a social satire that becomes so about society in general, so almost like the big picture. And I love that idea of we can do small things like recycle or try to downsize in this scenario, and it might save the world, but really at the end of the day, human selfishness almost wins, and it's sort of a nihilistic viewpoint where it's like, we're screwed no matter what, Mother Earth, nature will win in the end. Really sort of a unique message that I haven't seen, and really expands the social satire. And you think of it, it's about, criticizing society, but then criticizing society and then seeing those consequences. It's really, really smartly well done, and using Matt Damon as a sort of milquetoast character, but almost as like a foil, so you can enter yourself into its own world. I thought it was really well done. People are shitting on it, and I think it's undeserved. Next pick is Lady Bird. I talked about recently Laurie Metcalf being such a well-deserved and well-liked and well-written character, and you can see this in Lady Bird. Really funny moments. Of course, Greta Gerwig has incredible direction, but it starts from her writing, which is building these characters that are very realistic and building these scenes, these conversations that I'm sure were based on her sort of interactions at the time. But she said she wasn't like Lady Bird at all, so I think she's a really incredible talent, Greta Gerwig, and of course she's been a great writer, writing with Noah Baumbach before, but really developing, I think, Lady Bird. What I love about it is this characters with smutty, sweet dialogues, and really just a short movie. It doesn't stay its welcome. It's really well done. An incredible coming-of-age movie. Lady Bird, really enjoyed. Spider-Man: Homecoming. This one, I mean, based on great witty dialogue, I had me laughing at the theater, but also the action set pieces. Movies never get noticed for the screenplay because there's action, right? There's no word. People think screenplay and words, but for a lot of times, action's on the screenplay too, and how you tell those actions are in the screenplay. And I just think of Spider-Man: Homecoming compared to something like Justice League. Justice League, I couldn't tell you one set piece. Spider-Man: Homecoming, I can tell you all of them, particularly the one in the Washington National Monument. I thought that was really well done, of how it just constructs and builds the tension, and even of course that really well written scene, like I said, in the car with Michael Keaton, Tom Holland, and Zendaya. Incredible back and forth, and sort of hinting at things without really hinting at things, and there's an odd dynamic. Really, really well done. Spider-Man: Homecoming, incredible writing. And then 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. This is so funny. It's so twisted. It goes in so many different directions. It's smart. It's quippy. I mean, the dialogue is it's hyper-realistic, because no one would ever think that. But it's I wish I thought of that. It's such a great comeback, a counter comeback, and it's like bang, bang, bang. So well done. And just great characters, and seeing those characters act. 3 Billboards is a movie I enjoy for sure. And my winner, though, The Meyerowitz Story, is a nerd writer. I'm a huge fan of the show. He does a video essay series, and he pointed out, I think, something that I realized, but not maybe to the full extent, and really maybe express my thoughts on it, which is he did a video essay on the Meyerowitz Stories of how they sort of overlap and they talk over each other, and it shows about the theme of distant communication, which I picked up the first time because that's what the movie is about. In the end, this idea of you can talk to each other, but there is a lack of communication, and they're not all really there, but they're how families talk. Really incredible, just unique dialogue. I mean, Noah Baumbach, you said, he does the same thing over and over again. Not necessarily. I think Francis Ha is a completely different movie than Squid and the Whale, which is different than this movie. I think this movie is a little more similar to the Squid and the Whale, but seeing this on Netflix, it maybe got buried, and there's not any Oscar consideration, which is a shame, because Meyerowitz Stories is a really, really incredible screenplay, and it's my favorite of the year just because of how the dialogue is created and how you have these flawed characters with these backstories that eventually you learn more about them. I was really a big fan of this screenplay for sure. All right, into my next pick, category, Best Score. Battle of the Sexes, Brad Status, Good Time, Phantom Thread, and 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri, and the winner is Phantom Thread. So I just recently saw Phantom Thread. I'll talk about that a little bit later, but it wins this category because it's almost throughout the entire movie, the score. It's a really long score, but it's so unique. There's so many different themes. Of course, I knew sort of the theme from the trailer, but then there's other themes in it, and there's Alma's theme, which is more of a Luxembourg type feel to it, and then sort of more the traditional sort of British thing, but it's not operatic in that sense. It's very unique. This is Johnny Greenwood's best score for sure. He's a member of Radiohead, if you don't know who scores some of Paul Thompson Harris's other movies. I think this is going to get an Oscar nomination, and rightfully so. Probably not win because, Shape of Water or something, big favorite of the Oscars is going to win there. But Phantom Thread, really just a beautiful score. And then some of my other nominees, Battle of Sexes. This is from Linus Sandgren, who, no, this is not. This is from Nicholas Bertel, I believe. Who did the Moonlight score, and I think it's a really great sort of moving sort of sports-like score. It works really well with the movie, which is what I first noticed the first time. There's great use of the soundtrack, but really the score, especially in the end, is sort of rousing, epic sports score that really doesn't get recognized, and is really a great feat. I was really impressed by Battle of Sexes' score. Brad's Status, this is a really unique thing by Mark Mothersbaugh, who also did the Thor Ragnarok score. Completely different if you look at those two scores, which it looks at and sees that, wow, this guy's a really good talent. But using sort of the strings, and I forget what it's called, but they're sort of like off. You can hear sort of them making mistakes, but then he uses that in sort of this weird eerie sort of thing. But then it doesn't work. It just sort of uses the nervousness almost that portrays of the character played by Ben Stiller, Brad. Really well done. Good time. This is more a electronic type score by Onyx Point. Never or something like that. I know it's like Onethieix, something like that. Really weird name, but really great score. This similar to, reminds me of something like a Social Network or something that, you know, Trent Reznor and Atticus Ross do, this sort of pulse pounding sort of electronic thing that works beautifully with the movie, where it just moves the story along, bang bang bang, and you hear this doop doop doop, and sort of like, and it keeps the energy going, and sort of the neon lights of the visuals. It pairs really well with Good Time. And then my final nominee, which is 3 Billboards outside Ebbing, Missouri. This is done by Rockwell, who also did the beautiful Carol score and beautiful Fargo score. He creates an incredible sort of country-like thing with a lot of guitar strings and a lot of sort of like single drums, sort of like march-like almost. It was really incredible. Appreciated that sentiment for sure. And one that I'm probably most I'd listened to so far, but Phantom Thread is a complete score. Really just top to bottom, solid. Okay, let's go to my next category, which is Best Edit. Baby Driver, Call Me By Your Name, Dunkirk, Logan Lucky, and Good Time. Oh, excuse me. And the winner is Dunkirk. This is a close category, guys, because my second runner-up, I'll tell you right now, is Baby Driver. This was incredible editing because it's all about editing, you know, just the little cuts that he makes. I think Edgar can finally direct action now. He was a little rough in Hot Fuzz. There's a lot better in World's End, and this is really his peak of his action, I think, really developing that skill. You know, there's not a lot of fight scenes, but that's sort of the gunfire and the car moving around and whipping around the corners, and then of course matching the beats to the music to the edits. It was all this seamless thing. I really enjoyed Baby Driver, and the editing is a highlight for sure. I think you can see that for a nomination at the Oscars. Next pick is Call Me By Your Name, because there was a couple editing decisions that were really well done. I mean, the final ending scene was like, wow, it blew me away because of the lack of editing. How we just stood there and decided to stand there. You know, that's something. And then there's another scene where it's a cut of him, and then maybe a cut to a peach, right? And if you've seen the movie, you know what that is. And then cut to him, and then a cut to a train. So it's like, and it tells so much in the story, and this sort of cuts, and I don't want to say too much about it, but the sort of harsh cuts that they use, and then the sort of soft cuts that the story goes through, the cuts are very powerful and meaningful in this movie. I think that's really underlooked, and it was my favorite part of Call Me By Your Name. And then I also have Logan Lucky. I mean, this sort of using the cuts and editing and the storytelling to sort of manipulate your mind. You see one thing, you're seeing one person's perspective, but then when someone else is doing something that the camera doesn't show, that will reveal to you later, and that will reveal different character motivations to make you see things differently. And then on a second watch, which I did watch the second time, you'll see things be like, oh, this is the point where this is happening, and then just the sort of the unique sort of editing, and I think that tells a lot about the storytelling and the editing to be able to tell us what's happening in this complicated heist with all these characters and make everyone understand it, and then show the reveal and then make everyone understand that. It takes an incredible amount of storytelling and respect of a filmmaker to do that. It's really incredible. And then Good Time. This was a battle between this and Blade Runner 2049. I just think Blade Runner 2049 could be a little bit shorter, but Good Time, I give it a nomination because just the idea that, well, it's so fast and so visceral, and it keeps you going, and it's a non-stop bang, 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 throughout the movie, and it's really energy and impactful, and I think that a lot has to do with the editing. And then, of course, my winner, Dunkirk. This one went to Baby Driver because I wanted to award Dunkirk because it's one of my favorite movies of the year. You'll see that in Best Picture. But Dunkirk, I just found that you have the incredible storytelling of the land, of the sea, of the air, right? But then you have, throughout the movie, it tells you where it is, right? So at the beginning it says 1 week, 1 day, and then 1 hour in the plane. So then you see these characters show up in these different sort of, we'll say, storylines, but that show up in other storylines before they were like that, particularly the Cillian Murphy character, which is really a great reveal. It's not a spoiler. It's just sort of, you can't really spoil this movie. I don't think it's an experience you have to feel, and the editing and for how he creates suspense by almost a non-stop suspense thing. There are breaks, of course, because that's what makes great suspense, but he goes from like one suspense, and then just when it's hitting the thing and it's about to crash, it cuts to the other timeline, and interweaving these 3 timelines really beautifully. Incredible technical achievement, and the editing on this is top notch. All right, my next category, Best Ensemble. Blade Runner 2049, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Logan Lucky, The Post. And the winner is Logan Lucky, another winner from Logan Lucky. Guys, you can tell I like this movie, but the ensemble was really incredible in this movie. But let's go with Blade Runner 2049. I mean, let's think of the people. I thought Harrison Ford can shows that he's better than I think The Force Awakens. He's better than he's ever been in a while. He really brings it for this one, and Denis Villeneuve really sort of brings it out of him in that sense. You have, of course, Ryan Gosling. I think is really good, and Armas, Sylvia Hoeks, who plays the bad guy. I even like Jared Leto in this movie. I think he does a unique thing, and it pays off compared to other Jared Leto things. I think this is a great ensemble, top to bottom. Even Robin Wright comes in for a great sort of 1-2 punch date with Batista. It's just, I mean, he can get, Denis Villeneuve can get a lot of these people, and he puts them and really shows them that, he's this great director because he can get these performances out of these people. Darkest Hour, this is the most ensemble movie type of thing. I mean, not as most as the sort of my final nominee, but Darkest Hour, of course, Kristen Scott Thomas, Gary Oldman, the guy from Stan Sprathet from Game of Thrones, who's really well, and I forget his name, Lily James, Ben Mendelsohn, just all this sort of, and then all these character actors you can really see, British sort of famous, well-done character actors in this great sort of ensemble, parliament, government, historical figure. People sort of criticize Darkest Hour for that, but it's just really well done. And then Dunkirk, this is the most ensemble movie, if you ever asked me, of the year. Well, maybe not as my last pick, but it's because not all these people recognize, but you have people like Harry Styles who come in and totally transform, and you don't even realize that's him. And then the main character, who is... Oh, I forget his name. I always forget him. I think of him in Finn Wolfhard. So I think it's Finn something. I'm unfortunately forgetting his name, but he's really great in it. And of course, Mark Rylance and Barry Keoghan and Tom Hardy and Kenneth Branagh. There's so many great actors in this. I think if it was a strong contender, would have got nominated for Best SAG Ensemble, but unfortunately didn't. In a dream world, it would have, because it is almost the most ensemble movie, almost as much of an ensemble as The Post. I received a song as well. This is the only nomination, unfortunately, but I enjoyed The Post very much, and just seeing all the character actors Steven Spielberg can just get and then just put in this movie. I mean, Carrie Coon, of course, Meryl Streep, Tom Hanks, David Cross, Bob Odenkirk, Michael Stuhlbarg, Tracy Letts, who's also in Lady Bird. Just really incredible cast of characters that we see here. Oh, Jesse Plemons, Zachary Wood. There's so many different people that pop up and you're like, oh, hey, that's that person. Oh, hey, that's that person. And just like incredible sort of feat of actors. And I think Steven Spielberg is the only type of guy who can get that. And you see the poster, or like the first image I remember seeing, and be like, wow, those are a lot of people. That's going to be really great. And there's almost too many characters, and everyone gets a little moment, but no one can be recognized as best supporting actor, best supporting actress. Oh, and Sarah Paulman. So that was really fun movie, and seeing all those characters was just shows how great the ensemble was. But my pick was Logan Lucky, just because, I mean, I think everyone delivers an A-notch performance that's different from them. Adam Driver delivers a great performance, and Channing Tatum is great as the sort of leader, and then Riley Keough, and then Daniel Craig, and then the two brothers, and then Seth MacFarlane. I think Hilary Swank actually comes back with a pretty good role. Not great, but she's pretty good. What else am I missing? Oh, Sebastian Stan as race car driver. There's so many great people in this where you're like, oh yeah, oh boom, boom, boom. And then all here for Steven Soderbergh back for his film feature debut. I'm so glad he's back, because I really enjoy that movie, and the ensemble is just an incredible cast of characters playing different characters than they normally play. So really unique situation there. Okay, now let's go over into next category, Best Design. Blade Runner 2049, Darkest Hour, Logan Lucky, Phantom Thread, and The Killing of a Sacred Deer. And the winner is Blade Runner 2049. Okay. So let's go to Darkest Hour first then. This is just the incredible, beautiful Parliament, and how that's well done, and then the war room, and that's sort of the dark area versus sort of where he lives. Really well done there. And design, let me just preface this category. This is a mix of production design and costume design, sort of overall feel, almost tone incorporates that, but from a design sort of visual aspect in that sense. And Darkest Hour is really well done. Logan Lucky, I mean, this is a contemporary movie, but of course you have the NASCAR sort of culture, and sort of that culture of, I forget where it's that, I want to say something like Louisiana, but a Southern American state or city, and sort of capturing that feel, sort of the redneck NASCAR thing, but giving them a little more character to them, and sort of maybe the rich rednecks, and you know that's that sort of stereotype you would say. But I've been down to the South many times, and I've definitely seen those characters before. Then Phantom Thread, I mean, you have the beautiful costumes. What I really love about it, which I'll talk about in the cinematography category, is the beautiful sort of dreamy-like category, but the incredible detail of Reynolds Woodcock that he puts into his work, and you can tell from the movie, and just that incredible house and the incredible scenes of London and the sidewalks and shooting on location many times, and it's just a really sort of unique sort of want to explore every little bit of that house, and then of course the costumes are incredible. I hope this wins for best costume design at the Oscars. I think it's going to get nominated too. And then Killing of a Sacred Deer, just because I think it was able to create this thing where you have the hospital, the cleanness of the hospital, and then the cleanness of the house, and then the location really isn't a matter of what city they're in. I think they're in, I want to say Cincinnati, Ohio, I think, but it doesn't matter. It's what the characters wear and how everything's sort of muted, and even the, sort of the storytelling of what they give them. I thought that just, especially even from like a tone scenario, Yorgos Lanthimos was able to create that really well done. And then the winner, of course, Blade Runner 2049, because you're able to create this world of Blade Runner, which is so unique and very much its own, and then evolve it and create something different and make it seem like it's 30 years of an evolution of not our world in 2019, an evolution of their world in 2019. And really just a beautiful thing of the different statues, and of course the incredible casino thing. The production design is incredible, my God, and it's almost a lack of things. They can put little things on these corners, but they don't. They let things be very smooth and sort of white walls, and Jared Leto's lab is sort of all flat and straight, and you have these unique sort of things, that stair shot. Oh, gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Can't believe they pulled this off in Blade Runner 2049. I think it was a far ahead winner for Best Design. And Best Documentary, I have 3 picks here. I have Icarus, Cuddy, and Mr. Gaga, and I went with Icarus. I saw this on Netflix. I wasn't sure what my documentary was, and I saw this and I instantly loved it because I don't want to spoil it, but it starts off as a sports documentary where this guy tries to see if steroids work, and then it transforms and morphs into this other thing. Really incredible. I mean, talks about the Olympics, talks about people, you know, like Lance Armstrong and all those guys, and sort of experiments and does this thing, and the director is also the character of the movie, so I really like that aspect to it, and that's what I'm going to say. Watch Icarus. It's on Netflix right now. It's really fantastic. And then Kedi is this sort of, it's in Istanbul, Turkey, where all these street cats run around, and it makes you have an affection for cats. It's really a cat lover documentary, but even not really as a cat lover, I really appreciate it nonetheless. And then Mr. Gaga, I saw this in theaters, the only documentary I saw in theaters this year, unfortunately, about the dancer, I'm forgetting his name. What's his name? He's from Israel. His style is sort of the Gaga style. He's not, that's his name, but you see this incredible, unique style that you don't see in dancing. It's not ballet. It's not something else. It's not sort of a contemporary lyrical type thing or modern. It is more modern, but it's totally his own, totally unique. And seeing this sort of great genius on the screen and telling what he wants, and know this, know that, and trying to do it and trying to manipulate these dancers to get the performance he wants. A truly great artist, and you can tell on the screen because the dance is so visceral and lively. And if you think dance is boring, something like the ballet, watch this movie and watch this type of dance that could be done and using props, and really, really well done. Okay, and now animated movie. This also has 3 nominees because I don't want to nominate some movies that I didn't necessarily like. Not a great year for animation, but a good year nonetheless. Captain Underpants, Coco, and Lego Batman, and the winner is Lego Batman. All right, let's start with my nominees. Captain Underpants. I love this movie. I'm a fan of the books growing up, but also it's just an incredible movie where it's like they talk about fart jokes and all this like sort of dumb stuff, right? But they play it off so well. And Kevin Hart and who plays the other kid? It's not Nick Kroll. Nick Kroll plays Professor Poopy Pants. So, and then Thomas Middleditch plays the other character. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I did enjoy this movie. I'd say that's a compliment actually to the movie because they transformed really into their roles. Kevin Hart wasn't because Kevin Hart stuff. He was toning it down and played this unique character, and just the breaking the fourth wall and really charming, and I really enjoyed Captain Underpants. Check it out if you're an animation lover. Next pick, of course, Keough. I was a fan of this movie, the incredible music, the design, this incredible Mexican heritage sort of culture, the Day of the Dead. I'm not Mexican, but from what I've heard, they honored it really well, which is always great. And I think the incredible Pixar imagination and those oranges and those purples really stood out to me. So the visuals were incredible, and then the story didn't make me cry, because Pixar movies don't make me cry, but a solid Pixar movie once again. I think it's going to win the Oscar too. But my winner was Lego Batman, because I'm a superhero fan, and I love Batman like most superhero fans do. And being able to go through its catalog and teach me more about Batman and make funny references to other ones, and still being a standalone funny movie, and it's a movie I've seen multiple times, and I think I'll rewatch it. It's a movie I can see that I'm trying to fall asleep on. I'll throw on Lego Batman because it has such great energy, and I sort of know it's in that sense I'll fall asleep, but it has a great energy to it and a great animation style, and I think Lego knocks it out of the park again. I don't think it's going to get nominated for Best Animated Feature. I hope it does, but right now I'm not saying it, which is a shame, because hey, it's one of the best movies of the year in my opinion. Alright, let's move over into my next category. Best Supporting Actor, Best Cinematography. Blade Runner 2049, Dunkirk, The Florida Project, Phantom Thread, The Killing of a Sacred Deer, and the winner is Blade Runner 2049. Oh man, this was a great year for cinematography. First nominee, Dunkirk. Incredible Hoyt using those IMAX cameras and using it smartly, where it's almost like a silent film, and just creating the incredible shots of this thing. It makes you so immersive in the screen that you feel like you're there. And the incredible shots of the plane going by, and using sort of the crampedness of the boat, and then sort of the unique scenes where they're doing target practice on a little boat there when all the people are in there. Incredible tense moments, incredibly wide, long, huge Lawrence of Arabia type landscape shots. Really unique mix of that. Hoyt Van Hoyt's one of my favorite cinematographers, and he pulls that, knocks it out of the park again. The Florida Project, incredibly sort of handheld, makes it feel really beautiful. And then of course the incredible colors. You have a lot of these sequences where it's just a shot, a really wide shot of these sort of landscapes, and it gets you understand where they are, and sort of the tackiness and the cheesiness of this area, and the cheapness that they live in. But these are standard motels and really incredible story. It's the only nomination here, but I really did enjoy Florida Project, and the cinematography really blew me away. And then Phantom Thread was my next nominee, because this is actually by Paul Thomas Anderson, but he says that he credits a lot of his lighting experts to help him out and do different things. But the incredible scene, there's a scene where it's almost like in a circus, it's dreamlike, and then of course the close-ups of their faces really brings this tension used perfectly. And looking at the dress and how the seams are made, and the house and the beautiful landscapes of London, and of course when they first meet, that's an incredible shot. I want that shot framed. So many unique things, and I think Paul Thomas Anderson just shows how much of an incredible artist and creative he really is. And then Killing of a Sacred Deer was my final nominee. Just incredible sort of long takes using weird camera angles, very, very reminiscent of Kubrick, a very Kubrickian thing where it's emotionally cold and very weird, and its use of its camera just to hold and stay still and not move and let the scene play out, and use of blocking. That's the director's thing, but the cinematographer's choice to stay there and not be lazy, really, really well done. But my runner, Blade Runner 2049, Roger Deakins, I mean, he should win the Oscar for this. Incredible, incredible, incredible. You can see every frame of this movie is a painting. I can have this on my screensaver. It was my screensaver so long. I mean, that stair shot's one of my favorite shots. Him with the bees and the orange, or even the casino, or that incredible fight of the holograms. It's like, oh, how do you shoot this? This is incredible. This is another world. Such a transportive experience, and Roger Deakins was able to capture that to a T. I hope he wins. And now let's get into more of the more popular categories. My first one, Best Director. So Christopher Nolan, Dunkirk, Denis Villeneuve, Blade Runner 2049, Greta Gerwig, Lady Bird, Joshua Benny Safdie, Good Time, Yorgos Lanthimos, Killing of a Sacred Deer, and the winner is Joshua Benny Safdie, Good Time. maybe this will tell you what my best picture is, but this is a bit of a surprise maybe for a lot of people because they don't think Good Time is not really on top of anyone's list except for mine, and I really appreciate the directors because they're doing 48 Hours now, which is a remake of the Nick Nolte, Eddie Murphy movie, which I really enjoyed. I think they're going to do a great job of it because they're able to create the grittiness. Everyone says, oh, what's gritty? I want a gritty superhero movie. Logan's so gritty. But what is gritty? What do you mean gritty? In terms of the sense of being on the streets and being there, and it's guerrilla style filmmaking, and they pull it off, and they use, I'm not really a big fan of really a lot of close-ups, but they use it incredible ways, and the energy, there's so much energy in this movie. I think that's something I've been so obsessed with for a long time, is energy. It's this non-stop thrill ride. It's so reminiscent of a 70s sort of thriller, but then there's 80 neon things, and Robert Pattinson plays this Al Pacino-like character, and he nails it, and it's a gritty crime drama, and they just totally nail their tone and what they're going for, and they're able to drag you on and keep you on the edge of your seat for this entire movie. It's just like a sprint on the treadmill, and then you're like, oh, you're exhausted by the end of it, but it's so rewarding. It's so well done. I can't recommend Good Time. See it on the big screen if you can't, but it's one of those movies where Blade Runner 2049, I say, if you can't see it on the big screen, I mean, I don't know, see it on a 60-inch, you have to see it big. Good Time, you don't have to see big, it just helps. So that's why it's just an incredible movie. Alright, now let's move over to my final 3 categories. First one being Best Actor. And the nominees are Adam Sandler, The Meyerowitz Stories, Gary Oldman, Darkest Hour, James Franco, The Disaster Artist, Robert Pattinson, Good Time, and Tom Cruise, American Made. And the winner is Gary Oldman, Darkest Hour. For one reason, because it made me say over and over again, "You're not reason with a tiger when your head is in his mouth." Excuse my terrible acting there, but that was so much fun to see Gary Oldman do that, and he's overacting, yes, but he's nailing it, and you don't see Gary Oldman. I mean, it's such a transformation. The makeup helps, but he's so into how he walks and how he moves and how he talks. It's so authentic. And Winston Churchill we see tapes with him. I've seen tapes of him, and that's Winston Churchill. That's not Gary Oldman. He should win the Oscar. I mean, what an incredible performance. One of the best I've seen. He carries this movie, and he's really a big reason why I love this movie so much. Some of these others were so good, too. Adam Sandler, The Meyerowitz Stories. What a transformation by this guy. We thought he was done, and he pulls out another Punch Drunk Love, where he just nails it. He's just... Noah Baumbach uses him as a sort of sad, desperate type character they use in Punch Drunk Love, but it gives him a sense of sincerity. He's lovable, and wow, I want to see more of this Adam Sandler, please. And then James Franco, The Disaster Artist, and he also transforms and becomes Tommy Wiseau, and just the incredible laugh and how his tone and his dialogue. He worked so hard on this, and he really should be rewarded and recognized for this. I think he's actually going to get in. Robert Pattinson for a Good Time. Like I said, that Al Pacino thing, he's the sort of standout for a lot of people for Good Time, and rightfully so, because he is such a surprise. I mean, all these characters are like, wow, Adam Sandler's back. Wow, Robert Pattinson from Twilight, yeah. I never thought I'd like him, but he does so well. He has an incredible American accent, and you feel this guy, Connie, has this really well-developed character in Robert Pattinson. It brings that out of him, and you empathize with him, but you're like, oh, you're making all these bad mistakes. Why? But he still does a great job at making you believe. And then Tom Cruise, American Made. I really enjoyed American Made. I think Tom Cruise, even at his age, maybe he's a little miscast in this movie, also, some people say. I disagree. I think he brings a great energy to it. He brings a star power quality that is needed for this movie. And it's not the typical Tom Cruise is, oh, he's amazing. It does show that a little bit of flaws. He's dumb. He's stupid. He's not this sort of hero that he makes him seem out to be. He thinks he is, but it's almost a situation of ignorance is bliss. And I really love how Doug Liman deals with that concept. Okay, Best Actress. Oh, down there. Okay, so Frances McDormand, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. Haley Lou Richardson, Columbus. Jessica Chastain, Molly's Game. Michelle Williams, All the Money in the World. Saoirse Ronan, Lady Bird. And the winner is Saoirse Ronan, Lady Bird. Let's hold off on her for right now. First nominee, Frances McDormand, 3 Billboards Outside Ebbing, Missouri. I think she's going to win the Oscar for this. What incredible grit, what incredible strength. She nailed it. She totally understands this character. And the incredible lines that she just totally lives and makes totally believable. And you understand her because she is so tough and she is so rock hard and in that sense of her emotion. But you sort of realize and understand her perspective. Really enjoyed that. Haley Lou Richardson, Columbus. Columbus is a movie I enjoyed as well, and Haley Lou Richardson is definitely the emotional center of this movie. It's her story, and I want to recognize her for that. Jessica Chastain, Molly's Game. She's just so powerful and so strong. I mean, Jessica Chastain is this woman who, being Molly Bloom, who creates her own empire and wants to show that, it's almost like she wants to show her dad that she wants something, and then wants to show other people. And I think it's such a sort of strong role, but then you see her weakness and her vulnerabilities because she is a flawed character, and I think Armstrong really brings that out of her. Michelle Williams, All the Money in the World. I think this is actually my runner-up because Michelle Williams is so good in All the Money in the World. She's the reason to watch the movie alone. I enjoyed the movie. I thought it was sort of pretty good, but only pretty good because of Michelle Williams. And really Christopher Plummer. Christopher Plummer's good too, and a well-written character. But Michelle Williams is so incredible as this woman who just wants her son back, and she gave up all the money. She could have had all the money in the world. She could have millions of dollars with. She was married to the son of J. Paul Getty. But she takes the kids, and then the incredible bargaining process, and she just wants her kids back and get her back into the incredible amount of love and the fierceness that she shows, and how she plays well with Mark Wahlberg, and she's trying to show and up against Christopher Plummer. She has some great lines. Michelle Williams is a standout. She's knockout good. She's so good. But my winner is Saoirse Ronan, Lady Bird, because maybe it's a little bit of past context, but I remember thinking about her for Brooklyn, being like, oh, this sweet Irish girl, really well done. And then you see her in this, and it's like, wow, she plays like a few years younger than her age, I think like 5 years younger, totally believable. She does a great American accent, creates the vibe of American high school as a character, really well done. The idea of her becoming a friend and sort of getting rid of that friend and then coming back to her, and she carries this movie. It has incredible lines, and she has great chemistry with every single person on screen. She's so incredible. She nails this character. This is a really transformative experience because if you look at Saoirse Ronan, she's not really like that, and this is really a character for her. I can tell. But I can't tell because it's Lady Bird. What I love about so much about it is that you're peering onto somebody's life. It doesn't feel like you're watching Saoirse Ronan act. You feel like this is an already established character, and wow, so incredible. All right, the big award of the night. Best Picture. So there's actually 10 nominees. This is my top 10. I'm going to read them in alphabetical order, and then I'll tell you the winner. So Blade Runner 2049, Darkest Hour, Dunkirk, Good Time, Lady Bird, The Lego Batman, Logan Lucky, Spider-Man Homecoming, The Killing of a Sacred Deer, and The Meyerowitz Stories. And the winner is... Good Time. Yep, that's my favorite movie of the year. This year wasn't as maybe a great year as last year or the year before that, where it's something like Arrival was my favorite movie of last year, and then The Martian or Carol before that. These really powerful, credible movies that really left me sort of floored. Good Time was an incredible movie where I was like, wow. I was raving about it. I really enjoyed it. Even something like Blade Runner 2049, that was a close runner-up too. I really enjoyed these movies, but they weren't something that blew me away. Which in that sense is like, bummer every year. But Good Time, I was a really big fan of, and not a lot of people have seen it. And I've already talked about it in sort of the director thing, and I would go over the nominees, but I sort of talked about all of them in my nominations, so you sort of got that big deal. So Good Time is the best picture of the second night. Connors, I hope you enjoyed the show. Make sure to like the video, comment below. Let me know some of your picks, your top 10 movies of the year. Share with your friends. I really want this to do really well. You're seeing this after my Oscar nominations and Oscar predictions, so maybe you're a little like, oh, what is this guy doing? We'll get back to the Oscar stuff. Just try it out. Give me a chance. That's what I'm talking about, because this was a lot of fun. I'm Connor, and yeah, that's it. So I'm Connor Wold, and until next time, stay tuned.